My name is Norman Roloff, and on April the 28th, I was fortunate enough to be chosen to be a member of the honor flight that went to Washington, D.C. for the purpose of seeing the memorial in Washington, but especially the Memorial of World War II. The participants in this trip were chosen because they were World War II veterans. And each year there's fewer of those. And the group that sponsored this trip was generous enough to recognize this issue. The honor flight picked people from all facets of the service. The trip was outstanding. We were to be at the airport at 5 o'clock, and prior to 7 a.m. we left for Washington on a charter flight. For each two veterans, there was a supervisor or a guardian. So we were well taken care of. After arriving in Washington, D.C., we were put on 3 different buses, and we made 8 different stops. And the most attractive was the World War II Museum. It was the museum which recognized the service of all of us that were in attendance. We had an opportunity to be there, to be photographed, to look at our various stations, and to those who haven't seen the memorial, it's hard to describe in detail the makeup of the entire memorial. We were again loaded into the buses and had an opportunity to see the Korean Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, the relatively new Women's Memorial, the Air Force Memorial, and had a short sightseeing trip through Washington, D.C. We ended the day in Washington, boarded the aircraft, and came back to Minneapolis, getting in at about 11 o'clock at night. I think the thing that impressed me, both arriving in Washington and arriving in Minneapolis, was the turnout of people, both military and civilians. World War II is now 60-odd years or more of history, but it still was remarkable to see the people who were interested enough to come to you and thank you for your service. I can't say enough about the organization that sponsored this trip because it is extremely well organized. There was left nothing to the imagination of comfort and supervision. Anything from the boarding to the meals to the transportation, and in the end, a reception in Minneapolis Airport. I was overwhelmed, and I think that I am speaking for the many veterans who were there who were equally influenced and astounded by the reception. I could only thank the organization, which was the Honor Flight Incorporated, the number of volunteers who accompanied the flight, and the donors who financed it. I would certainly like to see some recognition for all of that which has been going on since 2005.